Today's episode has been filmed and recorded, so if you are listening to this episode, kindly refer to the description for the YouTube link. And if you are watching today's episode on YouTube, kindly refer to the description for the podcast link for Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Every little bit helps. Thank you and enjoy today's episode.
Today's guest is an old high school friend and Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Lance the Gallade. Today we talked to him about gaming in general, Twitch streaming, esports, and just weeb culture in general. Without any further ado, my name is Brendan Nell.
My name is Llewellyn Fisher.
And you are listening to Finding Borders.
Roll intro. Season 2, Episode 11.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an absolute treat for you. Legend in the flesh, Twitch streamer extraordinaire, Lance the Gallade. How do you feel to being on the show, man?
Hello, thanks for having me. Definitely, I think you're overhyping me quite a lot, but it's good to be here. Thank you.
It's nostalgic, man. It's nostalgic. For our listeners, me and Lance, we go way back. I mean, we used to be in high school together, grade 9, if I'm correct. And for a lot of the listeners that don't know, Lance has been an incredible beatboxer and rapper. I especially remember
This
being
guy.
in geography class with you.
No, no, let's not. Dude.
Remember geography
bringing-
class,
oh.
man? This dude knows lyric word for word of Rap God. He could rap it at pace, bruh. Do you still do any of that?
Yo, Brandon, you just made me feel emotions I forgot about a long time ago. No, not really. I wouldn't say I've refined it further, and I've never really got a good audience for it. Life changes, things go on. So no, I'd say I can still do it, but it doesn't sound good over the mic always. So I'm not gonna.
It was a
Rather not
mic, but
indulge.
still, nonetheless, the hidden talent of yours. I think maybe definitely you should indulge your fans sometime.
It's a cool
Depriving
party.
them.
It's a cool party trick sometimes. Yeah, it's a cool story.
I can
I-
imagine. I can imagine.
I like to tell the story of how we used to do the drum, or how I learned the drum sitting in class with, what was his name? I actually can't even remember the guy's name, but
The
we
teacher.
sat in the class. No, it wasn't the teacher. It was a friend.
Uh,
But I can't remember his name. Anyway, we would sit in class and it was like, how are we going to learn to beatbox like that? And I was like, because it's like that P, that like, so it was like pivots in the class, pivots in the class. It's weird, but we learned from that. So it evolved like from pivots in the class, pivots in the class.
Yeah, that's so straightforward.
And then eventually it like, that's how we learned. And it's yeah, it's a weird way to have learned it, but it's always a good story.
Yeah, well,
fine story. Always a Mr. van Rensburg's class. I especially remember. And what was it? Our Afrikaans teacher, which is the native language of South Africa, which me, Llewellyn, and both Lance speaks. If you're from Mars at grade 9, I remember a lot of times separating us in class because we were always joking too much, laughing too loud. Do you remember that?
Yo, dude, I've forgotten a lot of this stuff. I haven't thought about any of it in so long. You're bringing back a lot of memories that whoa,
yeah,
damn, life has changed so much, eh?
it sounds like you could
It's-
always do like on your channel you can say, hey, for like a tip, I'll beatbox for you guys. What do you think? You can always just throw that
Yeah,
in the mix.
So there's this point system on Twitch that I have now only recently unlocked. So the beginning of this month, I managed to hit Twitch affiliate. which basically means that if you can maintain a certain amount of average viewers, get a certain amount of followers, and stream a certain amount of hours, then Twitch sort of partners up with you and allows you or gives you the opportunity to get subscribers, which means you can technically get paid. So the cool thing is you unlock a lot of fun features. Now I am still working on mine, but it's something called channel points that you can earn just by watching the stream or completing quests. There's a bunch of cool things you can set up. You can even make it so that you can catch Pokemon or steal or try and steal from other viewers. Or gamble on the points, and then you can redeem those points to get the streamer to take some sort of action. So yeah, I'll maybe consider that.
Well, how do you become
As
an affiliate? Because if we're talking monetization for a channel, if whether it's Twitch or I mean, even with our podcast, so our podcast host that essentially posts our episode on our platforms we've selected. Like we're only on Spotify and Apple Podcast at the moment, but you can watch the videos on YouTube. But that's a whole nother thing in its own, and I just do separately.
yeah,
But
with YouTube, it's like AdSense and stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
but for us to start monetizing on Anchor FM, we would have to have at least 50 listeners. I imagine they'd have to be active listeners, not just unique listeners. So that means they listen on a constant basis. So with with Twitch now, you've become an affiliate. Does that mean you have to have a minimum amount of subscribers or views or hours of view time? How does that
Yeah,
exactly work?
yes. So on Twitch, you need to have an average of 3 viewers at least to become an affiliate. So every stream, there needs to at least be 3 people consistently watching you and
Lots of
interacting in your
pressure.
chat.
Lots of pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, 3 people doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually, especially if you're starting out, it can be quite difficult to keep or maintain a number like that. You need at least 50 followers, and it has to be within 30 days. So all of these requirements has to be met within a 30-day period, or else even if you have 100 followers, like if you only get 20 followers a month, it doesn't matter. You have to get 50 within a month. Consistently have 3 viewers and stream on 7 unique days within a month, as well as having 500 minutes of stream time.
And then with your viewers as well, if I could interject, do you find that you attract more viewers and let's say followers because you said you were streaming League of Legends primarily, but you also you'd sometimes stream a horror game every now and then, something like that. Do you find when you mix up the order a little bit and say, okay, guys, this week I'm going to start streaming, I don't know, Resident Evil 7 or 8, do you actually get a jump?
I actually played that. So no, because when you stream, you generally try and build up a specific audience for your channel. So in my case, the audience that I'm building up is mostly League of Legends related. It is an extremely competitive game. There's actually a lot I could go into regarding League, but the audience is mainly for League. So if someone is going to join my channel, it would be to watch League content. If I suddenly stream something like Resident Evil, there are those that might be interested, but it would mostly be some random people that come in that are not League followers that would maybe come and check how I'm playing or whatever's happening. But they might not in the same breath go and watch my League content on the other hand. So it is a little bit of a double-edged sword, but I like to keep a little bit of a variety. I don't want to only play League. I know horror games can sometimes bring some very interesting and fun moments. Personally, I like to get, like, I don't know, my jump scares are quite a thing. I would just randomly yell when something happens. I finished the new Outlast the other day.
Yeah, that's the second Outlast
Wow.
game is torture to play. Like
Rude.
I played the first one, or I discovered the first one through a friend. And for those who are listening to this, and let's assume you have no idea about video games in general, you've never touched a console or a PC, that's fine. Outlast is a first person shooter, which means it's like from your point of view. So it's like the eyes through what you can see. And then essentially, the first game, you are stuck in, what was it, like a mental institution, but something, you pulled up, you're a journalist, your car's fine anyways, something looks like it's gone wrong, like there's blood everywhere, there's just things moved around, and all you can assume what's happened is through piecing together these notes that you find. But as the story progresses, you run into these mutants, and it's like really dark corridors. You can see gleaming eyes at the end of them. They're chasing you. You're unarmed. It's a survival game. It's crazy. The second one, however, your chopper gets shot down, or you crash or whatever in a forest, and you're like at the back end of a cult. And these people are like, and then as you're going through the cult, you have flashbacks of going back to high school, or primary school, I should say. But this primary school's at night. So it's like the scariest thing you can imagine. And like you're having stuff chase you and blood going everywhere. It's full on. So to stream that and for you to suddenly scream at your audience, that would evoke some reaction, I imagine.
Yeah, it does. And you see, my girlfriend also has this thing of when I'm playing games like this, she'll purposely go out of her way to try and scare the shit out of me. And she thinks it is hilarious when she gets a reaction out of me. So that just also adds on to the experience.
No, absolutely. Now, Lance, we've talked about now Resident Evil, Outlast. I know you primarily stream League of Legends, but if we would take a look at your Steam account, League of Legends aside, what is the game you have spent the most number of hours on?
Probably The Witcher.
Really? Is this The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt?
Yeah, but not stream. I haven't streamed it. But that and Final Fantasy, and yeah, this is
Which
the
particular
closest.
entry of Final Fantasy would you say is your favorite?
Oh, it's difficult. I can't choose, to be honest. You can't make me choose. I love all of them. All of them has made me cry in some way or shape or form. So I can't choose. I love the entire franchise. Oh, it's a floof. Hello, floof. What's the floof called? There's a dog. What's your dog called, Brandon?
My dog.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Brother,
He said
we have
hello.
three.
the mascot for Fighting Borders just walked in the background. What's his name?
Well, this dog is a Yorkshire Terrier named Abby. Very great personality. We actually like do her hair. She has like 2 ponytails and everything. But enough about her. Now, Lance, tell me, what game you didn't expect to enjoy, but actually ended up liking in the end?
Yo, I don't know, Brandon. When it comes to gaming, I generally like most of them. I'm not a fan of shooters. So, and I'd say if there's a game I think I won't enjoy, I'm probably not going to be playing it. To be fair, like I don't really go into a game thinking. I did download Apex recently, Apex Legends. I didn't really think I'd enjoy it, and I guess I'll use that as an entry then. Sure, let's go with Apex. I didn't expect to enjoy the game. I do enjoy it. Still not like I want to go competitive in it, but I do think for me it's casual. For me it's a casual game that I can just play 10-minute matches. Let's go. Quick game.
Well, I now that you say that, I had to do a huge research project on like a football team, and I ended up somehow moving it on to esports. Actually, I had to say how this one particular football team could secure funding, and I said that they should move into esports, and I had to research esports to see how big of an industry it is, but also how underrepresented it is, because the people who are involved with esports, let's say someone like yourself, you have to pay for all your kit. Like you have to get all your gear by yourself. You have to hope you have sponsors, and with their revenue, you can have trainers so you can become better and compete. And League of Legends actually, I imagine, has huge like tournaments each year or every other year.
Yeah, so So League is actually the most played game in the world. It probably has the biggest tournaments. I'm not sure if any of the other games have had bigger prize pools, but I know League. If you go onto YouTube and you check out the League of Legends World Finals opening ceremonies alone, your mind will be blown. Those people have a light in I think Worlds 2018. They had a life-size dragon hologram appear on stage, and it was incredible.
Oh wow. Yeah, no holding
The
back there.
the budget that actually goes into these tournaments and into these ceremonies is mind-blowing. And even if you're not a fan of League of Legends, the lore, the story, the animations, the music, it's really incredible. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Arcane series that got released on Netflix a while back.
Not at all, no.
So it's actually wow, I'm surprised. It was the #1 Netflix series. I don't know if it still is, but it was for quite a while. And it has a 9.8 star rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which in my opinion is very high because the site tends to be quite critical.
Mm.
Even if you're
Absolutely.
not a fan of League of Legends, even if you don't know what the game is about or haven't played the game, the series is incredible. The art style, the storytelling, the like everything about it. And I highly recommend you guys check it out.
Well, do you
No,
think
absolutely,
Really
man.
worth it.
And I also wanted to discuss like entry-level gamers, specifically in a game like League. For I know, for example, I've played League a couple of times, and for example, last week I've been trying to get into Warzone, Call of Duty, and I'm telling you, it's just pure despair for a first-time gamer. Going into a new game, if you haven't played from release day, I've been being killed since I'm parachuting into the battle royale. It's just absolute despair. So I want to ask you, like Lance, like for a first-time gamer trying League of Legends, what are some tips you can give them? Just not to get bulldozed out there first time going.
avoid the gulag,
So,
Brendan? That's all it is, man.
so to be honest with you, a game like League of Legends especially has a massive learning curve, right? So there is countless things about the game to analyze and to get into, and for you to actually be able to play the game at a decent level, the amount of knowledge that you need is crazy. So if I had to give a new players any tips, it would be contact me for coaching, or actually just play the game. It would be choose a champion that you think looks cool. It doesn't have to be a good champion. It just needs to be a champion that you really like. Like when I started out League, I I loved the idea of Zed and Yasuo because I'm a weeb, right? I love anime and I love samurai. And Yasuo is a samurai. So it like completely touched my heartstrings. And when I saw it, I was like, I love this champion. I love his lore. I love the way he speaks. I love his quotes. I love everything about him. I want to play this champion. I absolutely sucked at him because he's a very difficult champion, but I enjoyed it. And in playing the champion, I learned more about the game. I learned more about other champions. The most important thing as a new player is just to play the game, to learn, preferably stick with the same champion as much as you can so that you can learn the game easier instead of trying to like focus on 100 million different abilities. The game has over 150 champions. How many champions does League have at the moment? I just want to double check. But it's like over 150 champions. Every champion has one passive and 4 abilities, some of them even more. So in total, you've got like 150 times 5 different abilities with different types of effects and scaling. Long story short, the game is extremely complex. I recently, like I said, I downloaded Apex, and I'll be honest with you, I suck at it, right? Like I barely have any kills, but I'm just playing the game and trying to enjoy it, going onto YouTube, checking a few videos on what you can do to improve. It's important to be self-critical in competitive games. It's very common to find people blaming their teammates. They like to say the reason that they're not succeeding is because their teammates are bad, but that's just a myth. It's a complete lie. If you're bad at the game, you will be lower rank, and if you're good at the game, you'll be in higher rank. That's all there is to it.
Well, do you think in South Africa especially that gaming is not where it should be, or it is where it's not going where it should be going? I'm just, from my experience, I just remember that a lot of people in our generation only had Wi-Fi in their houses for the first time maybe 5-6 years ago, like when you're in your teens, and they've been, alive for all that time. They've only just gotten Wi-Fi, and we have these rage every year. Or before the pandemic, anyways, at the Coca-Cola Dome, they had these tournaments with this gaming expos and things happening. So, do you think gaming in South Africa is not where it should be, or is exactly where it needs to be?
I definitely don't think it's where it should be, but
And why is that?
like we are
Like, from
we're
your point of
we're
view?
definitely lagging behind. It is something that's growing. The
Yeah,
thing is, if you compare it to a lot of other countries, I have a friend that's from Denmark, and they literally have gaming as subjects in school. So it's something that you can actually go and study. You can study to become a coach for League of Legends, for example, or other types of competitive games. You can study to become a coach, to become a professional esports player, or like they are actually
I didn't know that.
there are certain professions in gaming that you can literally just go and study. Whereas in South Africa, that's not really something that is very available. I have noticed that there are more schools that have esports teams. I wish that's something I had when I was in school. I wish I was able to join an esports team. I know on League, most of the competitive tournaments, or a lot of the big ones, happen on VS Gaming. It's sponsored by Telkom. And there's actually a bunch of high schools that compete. And I'm very jealous, like I said, because I wish I could have done that when I was in school to see it. I personally also compete there. I've got my own organization. It's called the Order of the Shadow. We've had 3 teams that have been competing for the past 2 years. We managed to place 5th in one of the biggest tournaments in South Africa. We managed to get a small cash prize. See, the other thing is with the tournaments in SA, if the prize pool is 20K, it's big.
Yeah,
And if you usually that would be divided between 3 teams. So now you've got like first place would be 10K. And if you divide that in a team of 5 players, it's 2,000 Rand per player.
it's not a lot.
And a tournament like that might only happen once a year, which means it's not exactly a very profitable thing to say, listen, I want to become a full-time esports player and go professional. It's very difficult to do that from South Africa, I believe. Also, we do have the disadvantage of all of the servers being overseas. So on most of the games we play, we would connect to European servers, which leave us with 200 ping, whereas most of the European players would have 20 to 30, even less ping, which does give them an advantage over us as well.
Could you just explain to anyone who's not aware, as I am not too familiar with what ping exactly is in a game when you're holding a connection?
So ping is latency. So what that means is it's the connection from your computer to the server where the game is being run on. So in the case of the League server that I play on, it is in Belgium. So the further away you are from the server, the more delay there is going to be between your computer and the game that you are playing. Unfortunately, this isn't something that can be improved with network speed. It is completely based on distance. And so for example, if I connect to a Brazilian server, my ping will be 400 milliseconds, meaning there will be a 400 millisecond delay in everything that I do. That might not sound like a lot. I mean, half a second is barely noticeable. However, in a game like League of Legends or in a lot of fighting games in general, the frames, meaning the amount of time that it takes for a character or champion, whatever the game you're playing might be, to take an action is oftentimes 200 milliseconds, meaning it's very fast. And for you to react to it, you obviously need better ping to do so. If you have 400 millisecond delay, but the character's ability takes 200 milliseconds to go off, it's impossible to dodge it. Because even if you had lightning fast reaction times, it won't happen quickly enough. So that it.
She had a much greater disadvantage as a South African player. Well, playing absolutely any game, if you like, connect to a European or South American, North American server, whatever it may be. I know, especially like last week, I played a lot of Battlefield 5. I don't like 2042. It's a disaster so far. I'm waiting for some more updates and so coming on. But I know, especially for like first-person shooters, when like a second or two, can cause easily a kill. It's a big difference. But like, I just want to like wind back. In the previous question, you also said that you are a massive weeb, and I know I am as well. I know this season I've particularly been into Demon Slayer, the entertainment arc, the entertainment district arc, and I know like Attack of Titan is really big. Is there a particular anime you're like really binging at the moment?
I'm not, sadly, I haven't watched any anime in a while because I've just been too busy, to be honest. So I did watch an older anime recently called Yu Yu Hakusho, or
oh yes, I'm familiar.
What is it in English again?
I don't know the English. I know Yu Hakusho, yeah.
There's some sort of English name for it as well, but honestly, it blew my mind. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was, but it was really good, and I ended up watching the entire thing. It was great. I loved it. I watched Dr. Stone and Rurouni Kenshin, best anime.
Oh, absolutely. Ever. I'm a massive fan of the Rurouni Kenshin manga. If I watch the anime, I've read a lot of the manga. It's an absolute awesome manga. So you would say you're particularly a fan of shonen manga then, or anime?
Not necessarily. I like a lot of different types of anime, but I can't even think to name half of the anime that I've watched.
Yeah.
Like when I start thinking about anime, my brain shuts down because I've watched so many different anime. I've been spending some time watching series. I watched The Witcher recently.
Yeah.
There's this Korean series on Netflix called We Are All Dead that I watched, which is pretty cool. It reminds me a lot about High School of the Dead. I don't know if you've ever watched that.
Yes, I have. Very lewd, It's an interesting series. I know it's two mangakas that came together, one particularly working in horror and the other one working in hentai, coming together making a manga. It's a very interesting series. Now, I'd encourage any of our listeners to check it out if you're particularly edgy, I would say.
Like there's a lot of good anime out there. I haven't watched any recently, sadly. What have you been watching?
Like I said, Demon Slayer has been a big thing for me, as well as Platinum End.
I haven't watched the new episodes yet. I should, and I've been thinking about it.
It's pretty good, but the animation and stuff like that. But as well, Platinum End, because I'm particularly a huge fan of Death Note. I even have a chain usually, like as a Death Note book, and a Platinum End is the same creator as Death Note. So I've been a huge fan. I'm watching it, I'm catching it every week.
Oh yes, and Bucky.
Oh, absolutely! Incredible series on Netflix. I've just started.
Love that.
It's awesome.
It's incredible, dude. Like all of it is just wow. There was another one as well, Kengan Ashura.
I've heard a lot about it. Yeah,
very similar to Bucky. It's like if you like fighting at all, it's like it makes me think of the old like Jean-Claude Van Damme type movies.
Yeah.
It's incredible, dude. Like, I love it. Yeah, yes. Like
I'm just
Bloodsport,
thinking,
yeah,
as you
yeah.
say, Jean-Claude Van Damme, I'm thinking about the dancing in kickboxing, you know. You know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're saying, dude.
Sounds like a Bollywood version of a Japanese kung fu movie. Like after a fight scene, there's a dance scene. Like it'd be
But there
crazy.
is no dancing in this. This is like honestly brutal. Like they really just,
Yeah.
wow, I don't know. These guys are. You should totally get. Do you not watch any anime?
No, I'm literally the only one I've ever watched, and I actually really liked it too. Was Sword Art Online.
That's a good
No,
one.
Llewellyn, no!
That
Sword Art
that
Online. Come on, bro.
was the first season. Chill out. After
Sword Art
that,
Online is great.
after that, it got a little odd with how they. Yeah, I can't exactly remember what they did, but like
Turned into like Gun Gale Online.
yeah,
Weird. It
I was
changed a lot,
waiting.
yeah.
The problem is, I was waiting for someone, especially like one of the couples, like what was the main guy's Kirito or something, and his girlfriend's name was I forget.
Kirito.
Yes. So I was waiting for one of them to die. That's like they were so close. I was waiting in the first season for some of them to die, and I was ready for it, but it didn't happen. It was really cool. So like, but you know, on that note as well, um, just to bring it back to gaming, because I'm very curious about this, because we all three can probably relate to this in some way. Have you heard of a guy named Jordan Peterson, Lance?
I haven't.
Jordan
It sounds familiar, but
Jordan
you'll
B.
need to tell me
Peterson, I
about it.
believe. Anyways, he's a psychologist.
Enlighten us.
Yeah, like he's a psychologist or also an author, and he's really worth looking into. But anyways, he was recently. I follow a podcast channel called The Diary of a CEO, hosted by Stephen Bartlett, and he had he had Jordan Peterson on there, which I think was a huge milestone for him. It's the first interview I genuinely sat at the edge of my seat of, because I wanted to hear everything Jordan Peterson had to say. He did mention that with as you know, video games have this reward system in place. Oh, you level up. Oh, you get more money. Oh, you can buy better things for your character, whatever. Like, do you think from a psychological point of view, you know, in the modern world, we don't, as men, we don't have that need to fight to survive anymore, and we don't have that need to be aggressive to, I don't know, to have our pact or tribe survive. Do you think that with games, then that is a representation of our old instincts that have now gone to the wayside? Like, we now can fight in clans, we can socialize with other
It's
games, fight for a purpose, and that's like our way as men of hunting and like, can you relate to that at all? Like, it does make sense
I
when you put it in
don't.
a certain way.
I don't think it's personally. I don't think it's the same thing, right? I think to want to hunt and fight is survival,
Yeah,
whereas playing games it's not about survival. It can be about a lot of things. For me, a lot of my childhood growing up and playing games was about the story. So like I said earlier, I love games like Final Fantasy. You sort of play the game to see what's going to happen. You build a relationship with these characters, and you obviously you control the character. You grow with the character because you start out the game and you are really bad at it, which is also your character is also generally really weak. But as the game progresses, your character evolves. There's a character development. You grow with the character as a player because you learn the mechanics of the game. You improve. You know, to me, it's never been about trying to. I don't know. It's a very weird comparison. You see, the thing when you're coming about like when you talk about the psychology of gaming, it is designed to addict you. Yeah, that is definitely a thing by activating dopamine, and like it gets yeah, yeah, it activates dopamine receptors in your brain by in many different ways. I mean, obviously I'm not a psychologist, so I mean I'm just talking about what I've researched myself and the stuff that I know, but these games are designed to keep you hooked, right? Like playing even if it's something like Candy Crush, from the noises it makes every single time you make a match on your phone, to the amount of coins you get, and to leveling up. There's a bunch of strategies and things that go into it. But the same thing applies with social media in that sense, where the notifications that you receive,
Yeah, like
uh,
the point system. You get likes, you get
yeah,
views, you get interactions. But yeah, I don't know. I just always thought that, if you're having a really bad day, at least from a male point of view, you want to hop onto Warzone or League of Legends, and you just want to get a few kills, and you just want to not think about something.
So I
And
love chess.
okay,
And to me, it's about strategizing. And there is something incredibly satisfying about, in League, we call the term outplaying, right? There is something incredibly satisfying about outplaying your opponent by just doing something that was way better than whatever they were doing. Turning the tides when things look bad, like having 100 health left and just turning everything around, the situation around into your favor, and killing someone and being like, you thought you had me, but you didn't. I'm just so much better than you. There's such a satisfying feeling about that. To me, at least, I love doing that. I love turning a fight around and saying, take that, I'm better than you. You
almost
lost.
almost
Indeed,
like
indeed. And strategy is such a big thing. And I know particularly, and if
Mm.
you watch Queen's Gambit, this series on Netflix
Yeah.
regarding chess, I'm quite a big fan. I'm quite a chess player myself. And I remember you from high school always playing chess. I never think like sometime like on your Twitch or something, like we should do like a chess stream, me versus you. I think that would be quite fun.
Brandon, I think you're gonna lose miserably, but unless
I'd
you've
like to take you
improved.
up on that, I'd like to take you up on
Okay.
that. I think it'd be quite interesting.
all right, step
But
up.
now, as like a final question, Lance, like I want to ask you, it's kind of controversial because I know like a lot of people are listening and like you could easily, like put people off. But what is like a mainstream game series that like everybody loves, but you just don't like or couldn't get into that much?
Fortnite.
Shit, bro. But I agree.
Where are we dropping, boys?
I hate I hate the game. I'm sorry. I know it's a very popular game and there's a lot of people who plays it, but to me, the idea of being on a battlefield and shooting someone with a gun and suddenly there's an entire house out of thin air instantly is just bullshit. It doesn't work that way. Okay, like I hate the idea. I actually very much enjoyed playing PUBG. I think that was really fun. I had a lot of fun playing that with friends. But
Same,
Fortnite
same.
is just, it's never been for me, and also I don't like things that are like overly
Hyped
popular.
or mainstream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. It's just, I feel like it was way too hyped. And I feel like there was a lot of very young, like the player base has a lot of very young people as well.
6-year-olds.
Yeah, like it just wasn't for me. Like everyone can have their own opinion, and that's fine. I'm not saying that you are wrong if you like the game. I mean, cool. I have a few friends that like the game, but we'll just have to agree to disagree that the game is not great.
Well, on that
How do you?
note, I think it's an amazing conclusion. I particularly am not quite fond of Fortnite, but as you said, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. It's what makes us gamers,
Well,
But
How do
Llewellyn?
you feel about?
I'd hate to interject, gentlemen, but you do realize Microsoft has bought out Activision. What's the other one that's with Activision? Blizzard. Activision
Blizzard.
So Fortnite then is technically an Xbox exclusive now because it falls under Blizzard, I think.
No, it doesn't.
Ah,
It's
okay,
Epic.
no, just forget what I said.
Yeah.
But yes, they're
No, Sony has acquired Bungie, which is quite of a big deal.
Well,
if you take
it's funny
into
you say
retrospect that Bungie has been essential in creating like the first like
Yeah.
3 Halos, which
Yeah.
was Xbox exclusives, and now it is
now
a
they're gonna
PlayStation-based publisher and game creator.
So
And
the big Blizzard games are like things like StarCraft, it's StarCraft, World of Warcraft,
Call of Duty.
Overwatch.
Hmm.
Overwatch is also part of Blizzard. Hearthstone. I don't know if you guys know Hearthstone.
Yeah, I'm quite familiar with Hearthstone. It's quite
Hearthstone.
fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Diablo as well. Heroes of the Storm, which is also a MOBA. I've never actually tried the game, but I know I had friends that really loved the game. I've seen some of the game. Not a fan personally. I might try it out one day. Maybe if I played it, I'd have a different opinion, but I don't think I will like the game just looking at it. Definitely a massive franchise to buy over though, I must say.
Well,
It is
yeah, it
quite
was
a
a few
big-
$1 billion, the whole transaction, which is huge for gaming, man, because that was, I remember, because I tried investing with Activision Blizzard, and the stock at the time, let's say November last year, was so volatile. Like it went, you know, when I got into it, it was maybe 50 US a share, and then it went up to 60 for a bit, and then back down to 50, and then they changed CEO or whatever. It was crazy. And then I remember reading the article in my newsletter I'm subscribed to, and the stock had shot up to $80, $90 a share, like just $30 a share overnight. It was so intense, and I wish I still held on. I really do, but it just isn't for me, man. Like, I think it's a saturated market. I think they have a lot of people who are like you said. You said you are playing Apex. I've known a few people who have moved from Warzone to Apex because Warzone has recently moved from the modern day era of the time zone back to, or the timeline back to World War II, which is something they do quite often, and people weren't happy with that change of map and stuff. So yeah, I think it's a saturated market.
I know, Lance,
do you
like,
own
you
your
particularly, yeah? No, continue.
do you own your first NFT yet?
Oh, it's please.
Speaking
please.
about
No, I don't own NFTs. I screenshot them, bro. No, man.
No!
No, I don't even want to.
You shouldn't say that out loud. You shouldn't say that.
Man, I don't want to even. I don't own NFTs. Just to be clear, I don't own any cryptos. I've tried with one crypto, a small pinky toe in the lake. I tried with Neo, and it wasn't even a lot. And when I bought into Neo, same time I bought into Activision, about November, it was $50 a share, 50 US a share. And now, currently, this is when Bitcoin was about $67,000 a share US. Now, Bitcoin's at 44 last I checked, and Neo is 25 or something like that dollars a share. Like, it's just more than half it's worth. It's crazy, man. So no, I don't want to.
Just keep an eye on Dogecoin. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that's what.
Keep an eye on it.
These meme stocks, they do seem to take the light at points, don't they? Especially when a guy like Elon Musk says you can now pay for your Tesla in Dogecoin, and then yeah, that's what he did with Bitcoin. He said we're not accepting Bitcoin as payment because they're not sustainable. Like, they use a lot of electricity to mine. So, and Tesla is all about green environments, etc. So that didn't help us.
But now, on the topic of gaming, the reason also that I asked is because NFT is part of the future of gaming.
Yeah, as would the metaverse be, if it does actually become a real thing, it would be huge.
It is a very, very big part of the future. And there's a lot of NFT games surfacing already. I think most of them are a bunch of snot at the moment, but I believe it has a lot of potential. And I think the idea of being able to have more value for your in-game items could potentially be really cool. If you play a massive like MMORPG game and you make it so that there's only 5 of a specific sword available and you actually have to pay money to obtain that sword or give it some sort of monetary value, I think it could be a very interesting mechanic to deal with. Kind of looking forward to seeing what they do with it. But at the moment, I'm not really. I wouldn't say I'm really gonna get into it because the quality of the games are very not cool. I don't know. It's not great.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I think, just to close things off, I think it's one of those things where if you get into it early, you'll either be fundamentally correct or fundamentally incorrect. So VR gaming has taken off a lot in recent years, and the metaverse is all VR from what I understand. So it'll be interesting to see where it'll be at in the next decade and how it affects everyday life. Maybe it'll be like Ready Player One. Who knows? But
That would be cool.
But no, thank you very much for coming on today, Lance. I told Brandon at the start of this year I'm actually gonna get out of gaming. Like I've turned off the PS4. I'm a PlayStation fan. Don't judge me. And because there's a huge console war for those.
PC Master Race.
Yeah, for those who aren't aware.
Yeah, I'm on PCs. So.
Yeah, the master race. So no, thank you for coming on and just to talk about games in general. It's been so nostalgic, but it's also been interesting to try and explain it to those who are unaware, like parents or just all the generations who never got onto it who might be listening to this episode. So we wish your channel on Instagram all the best, your streaming channel on Twitch, your affiliation with them recently, just upwards and onwards for you, my friend, and thank you again.
Thank you, and same for you guys. Keep it up with the stream. It's really awesome what you guys are doing. Hopefully you guys get to talk to some real celebs someday. It would be cool to watch.